Hey all, it's Blue, and I feel like I need to address this one good time for all people who might be newly discovering me on social media and who like my work for what I say about justice issues or what I say about gender issues, but who are just discovering that I am an LGBTQ plus ally. Because some of you are like, oh, I love it when Blue talks about things affecting the Black community. I love it when Blue talks about the nuances of misogyny and racism. I love it when Blue talks about emotional intelligence. But I don't like it when she talks about that gay shit, right? I need you guys to understand why I am such a staunch ally to the LGBTQ plus community, and also to recognize that after you watch this video, if you're not rocking with me on this one topic, you probably don't need to rock with me on the other topics either, because I don't compartmentalize humanity. Humans are humans are humans are humans. You guys know I always say black is black is black is black. I do not dehumanize people just because they don't look like me or act like me or sleep with people that I would sleep with. So the first thing is I am pansexual. But I recognize that me being pansexual does come with a bit of privilege because I'm just as likely to marry and end up doing life with a man as I am with a woman, right? So there is an othering that some of my LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters feel that I don't actually necessarily feel. Because if I'm in a room with gay people talking about same-sex stuff, I'm like, cool, I get it. And if I'm in a room with straight people talking about straight stuff, I also feel at home there. So I recognize that being pansexual is not the same thing as living a fully lesbian lifestyle. It's not the same thing as being a same gender loving man. And so I'm acknowledging my privilege at all points, right? There's a level of othering that people who do not have the ability to be attracted to the opposite gender, who are living under the rainbow, there's a bit of othering that they experience that I don't experience, right? Any room that I go in, I feel at home in when it comes to talking about love and sex and orientation. And so I want to acknowledge that up front, and it also points out that me being pansexual is not why I'm an LGBTQ plus ally at all. Because I was an ally years before I ever recognized that I was attracted to anybody who wasn't a man. So that's not it at all. I started doing allyship work when I was about 17. And I did not realize that I was part of the queer family until I was about 22. So there was about 5 years where I didn't even know I was one of y'all, So that's not why. I'm not an ally because I'm pansexual. I know a lot of you assumed that was the case. Not at all. In fact, I'm about to share with you two really personal stories about why I became an LGBTQ plus ally as a child. I was still a minor when I became an ally because I saw two really disgusting things that made me realize that everything my church had taught me about gay people was wrong. And those two things are also probably a big reason why me and the church had beef for a while. I've now made peace with the church, and I'm deeply respectful of Christians and Christianity, but I saw some stuff that rocked my world. The first thing that happened was, and trigger warning, this conversation is going to feature some talk about suicide and some talk about murder. So I just want to do a trigger warning right now. If anybody just doesn't have the bandwidth, watch this later. And I'll make this quick because I do not like to think about these stories. When I was a young girl, I had a best friend named Ralph. And he was my bestest friend. We were both in the choir. A lot of you don't know that the reason I decided to become a writer is because I used to want to be a singer, but I ruined my vocal cords when I was a teen. And my mother didn't want to pay for surgery. So I thought I was going to be the next Whitney Houston when I was a kid. And then I ruined my vocal cords, and now I was like, I guess I'll start being a writer. But when I was singing, me and Ralph were in the choir, and I had a really thick, like Toni Braxton kind of voice. So they put me in the boys' choir, and Ralph was in the girls' choir. And we became friends because it was funny that we were like the only opposite gender person in both of the choirs. When I got tested into a really, really good school for children who were gifted, I had to leave Ralph behind and said, hey, next year I'm going to be going to a different school. I'm going to miss you. And I'll never forget it. Ralph cried and he said, please don't leave. If you leave, I won't make it. The thing about Ralph is I'm pretty much convinced that he was gay, I'm pretty much convinced he was gay. I don't want to lie about who he was. He's not with us any longer. And so he got made fun of a lot. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm the girl who likes to bully bullies. If you bully other people, I'm coming after you. I have a very strong Joan of Arc streak in me where I don't like to see injustice. So Ralph begged me not to go, but I tested into this school. My family was so proud. They threw me a party. I had to go to the new school. And so I said, I promise I'll be back. I'll come back for you. Literally, first semester in my new school, another girl from our old private school that we went to walked up to me in the cafeteria and said, Ralph is dead. And I said, what do you mean Ralph is dead? And she said, Ralph, his dad always said, stop being such a, I'm not going to use the F word. His father used to always tell him he was a little bit too sweet and told him that he needed to be more of a man and protect his sisters. So one day Ralph saw his sisters getting bullied by a little girl and he stood up to the bully to protect his sisters. His father's response was, wait, what kind of man picks on girls? When I get home, I'm going to spank you for being an F word. Ralph, whose mental health wasn't all there because between the church and the fact that we went to private school, a Catholic private school, he was constantly being hit with fire and brimstone rhetoric that made him feel like shit. Ralph went home, took the belt that his father was going to whoop him with, and he hung himself in the back porch. So when you guys watch the Lil Nas X video and you're talking all this shit about, oh, it's the Satan, it's the devil, it's whatever, I promise you, whatever bit of discomfort you felt in those 3 minutes watching the Lil Nas X video pales in comparison to what little black boys and girls who are part of the LGBTQ feel when they're at church and being told they're going to hell by their pastors and their preachers. Okay? When I saw the Lil Nas X video, I cried. And I was so proud of Lil Nas X, not because I'm a Satanist and I believe in Satan, but because it took so much bravery for him to hold up a mirror to the Christian church to show them the horror of what they've been putting these little kids through, to show them the horror of what Ralph went through when he hung himself because he was tired of being called a faggot in church every day and then at home by his father. So that's the first thing that made me become someone who felt really strongly about being an ally to the LGBTQ community, because by the time I was 12, my best friend at 12 hung himself because of the hateful shit that y'all so casually say about gay people. Then fast forward to when I was 17, I was a volunteer at the LGBT community center in my neighborhood, and I became friends with this trans girl who needed a job. I helped her get a job at the call center where I worked after school. And one day she showed up to the call center, literally with all these bloody gashes on her face. And I said, what happened? And I took her to the bathroom and she was sobbing. And it turns out a bunch of boys had clocked her as being trans and thrown rocks at her as she was crossing the street. And I was enraged. I was like, where are they? I'm going to fuck them up. Because, I'm the very protective friend, right? You mess with my friend, you mess with me. She said, no, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I literally held her in my arms while she sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. Because all she wanted to do was be her true self, and these boys were throwing rocks at her. I asked her if she needed me to walk to the bus stop with her. She said no, she'd be fine. And that was the last time I saw her. They found a body. Oh, God, I'm not going to cry. They found a body. They found a body a couple weeks later that they think was her, right? We're pretty sure that she was murdered. So, when you guys make these jokes about gay people or trans people, some of us do not have the luxury of not knowing what your words can do. Before I was 18, 2 of my favorite people lost their lives because of the hateful shit that some of you so casually say. So that is why I am an LGBTQ plus ally. And I think a lot of you are so busy dehumanizing these people that you don't stop and think about, what if that was my brother? What if that was my sister? What if that was my family? What if that was my friend? Gay people are people. And that's why I am an ally to the LGBTQ community, because I'm a person too. And my favorite quote of all time that I will probably get tattooed on my body someday is by a Latin poet named Terentius. And it goes, I am a human being, and therefore nothing human is foreign to me. The LGBTQ plus community, they are human beings. Nothing about them is foreign to me. And if you have any hateful shit to say about them, my page is not for you. All right? Good talk. Bye, guys.